Hello everyone, welcome to the Helix Beginners Guide. Today we'll be covering adding custom assets. So to start off, the end goal for today is we're going to make a custom asset pack. We're going to play around with it and we're just going to understand a bit more about Unreal Engine and Helix Studio. So the goals for today is what we're going to be covering, and that's going to be how do custom assets work in Helix, download Unreal Engine 5.3 with Helix Studio, cook and upload, move asset pack into server folder, spawn custom assets with scripting, and manage in the hub. So first of all, an asset pack is pretty simple. If we go onto our Helix server file, go on assets, you might have already some downloaded. If you haven't, you can go to the Helix hub, go on the exchange, find something you might like. So for example, you might want a map, so something like this would be good. RP downtown. So you press download and then you would have a zip. You just unzip it and then you just put it directly in your assets folder. Obviously we've covered this before, and if you remember, we downloaded these two here, and you might feel limited to what you have at the moment because we can only use what other people have made. So maybe you have your own assets, maybe you're good at making things in Blender. You might want to have a really good understanding of how to do Unreal Engine and import your FBX files into our Unreal Engine, cook them, and then directly plug them into your game. So if we just go on, for example, this asset pack, PCO markers, we go on the TOML source file, and this will give us a list of everything that is inside of it in terms of assets. So for example, this one has no maps, no skeletal meshes, no sounds, animations, etc. But it has 3 static meshes. This is the name of the individual asset, and this is the reference. Obviously, it's just inside of the folder, so there's no complicated path. And if we wanted to load it into our game, we would just simply reference the name of the asset pack, so it's PCO markers, and then the name of the asset. Obviously, we'll cover this later in the video, but it's just good to kind of understand the basics already. So to actually get Unreal Engine and Helix Studio, it's pretty simple. All we need to do is go on our Epic Games launcher. Go on Unreal Engine. And right now, Helix uses Unreal Engine version 5.3. So we've recently migrated, and at the moment it's 5.3.2. Just use anything under 5.3 for now. So you press install. You choose your folder and the path, and you'd press install, and it would begin installing. And while that's happening, you would want to go to your Helix API docs, and then go on to Helix Studio. So we'd want to go on our API docs. We'd want to go to asset creation using Helix Studio. And it basically just covers what we're learning here today. Make sure that we have our Helix Studio as well installed. And all Helix Studio is basically just a plugin for Helix. You just download it here. You follow this guide. So it's in assets and modding, Helix Studio install. Follow all of these steps, and because obviously this is a lot of gigabytes, we're actually going to go on a shadow PC that has everything already set up. So here's a device that already has everything set up. We want to go on Helix 5.3.2. Just press launch. It will take a while to initialize and everything. And once that's done, you want to go on games, and here is everything you need. So this will make an entirely new project. So you want to just name it something appropriate. So for example, I'll call it video tutorial. Press create. And because we're using the Helix World Developer Kit, it will already prepare some things for us. You can link it to your Unreal account. Link it to your Epic Game. You can link it to your Helix account, and then you'll be able to directly cook assets and send it straight to your account instead of cooking, and then formatting and then uploading. It kind of just does it all for you, so it's really, really convenient. So while we're waiting for this to create, we should try and get a FBX file. So if you want to do something on your own, you can use Blender. If maybe we can't really do that, you can probably just search up something like free FBX downloads. Try and find a trusted site, and then you just pick something out that you might like. Again, you don't want anything too too fancy. You might just want to do like couch or something, and then just try and find something that you'd like. You just download it. Obviously these ones are priced. Obviously you can just filter it as free, and then you can just download these ones here. Obviously we do recommend that you make these FBX files yourself or use someone that you can trust. Now we have our Helix Studios all set up. It gives you a prompt to log in. You just type in your login details. For example, I'll do mine. So this is an American keyboard. There we go. Obviously type in your login details. Log in. Type in your login details, and now you'll be sent to here. So now we have this kind of template thing here, and if we look around, some basic controls you want to look at, such as the content drawer, and we want to focus on plugins. So once you open it, you'll see this folder here. You need this if we want to start using assets. And now, as you can see, there's just a quick intro here to read the creator docs, a link to it as well. But we're not going to worry too much about this. We're going to just go on File, New Level, and we're going to choose Basic. That's just my preference. If you look around, there's now this world around you, and if we press play, this will actually load up in the Helix client. Obviously we have no code, we have no maps or anything really set up, so it's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to have just the world. You can just press the escape button and it will exit. And as well, these two things here are quite important. So there's manage your Helix world, which is essentially just this, and manage Helix assets, which is going to be for the Unreal Engine side. So for example, if we had something we wanted to have as an asset, like a map or an object, we would put it into this game and then cook it, and then it would now be a part of our game. So we're going to go and manage Helix World, and we're going to press Start VS Code, and this will actually open up Virtual Studio Code if we have it installed. Trust the authors, and we have this code now set up. And if you remember in our previous videos, it's exactly structured how we had it earlier. So there's assets, there's our asset pack that was made over here. Obviously it's empty right now, but don't worry. And as well, there's the client, there's the server, and obviously there's empty code. So now we might want to go on the Helix Hub, go on our quick start, and we just want to copy over some code. Well, that's in the client. We use the server, make sure it's the server. Save, go back on Unreal Engine. We press play, and again, it's actually going to load through the Helix client. So we have the player here now. We walk around, and obviously there's nothing at the moment, so there's not much to do. So now, if you want to manage your code, it's all here. Really, really simple to access. If you want to try and get the actual code itself, it's all the way over here in Unreal Projects. And again, and the entire setup's just here. So there's your server, and this is that server folder that we've set up previously with the command line interface. So obviously any assets you want will be placed here. Any code is going to be here, and that's pretty much it. So just quickly back to our Unreal Engine. We're just going to quickly go on back on our content drawer, and we're going to go back to that plugins, and we're going to go here. And I've already got something nice and ready. It's just a sofa. I'm going to place it down in our content drawer. We're just going to import it. Import's done. And now we can just drag, and it's now in our world. You can mess around with the controls. Right now this sofa is very, very small. So you want to change the scale, something like maybe, 200 by 200 by 200. Now we have a sofa. And then obviously we now want to rotate it. I believe it would be on this axis. There we go. And that's it. So now we have, in our content drawer, this here. And now if we were to jump over to our server assets, the cache, there's still nothing in there because we need to create the asset pack and we need to publish it. So we're going to just publish asset. So if we go over here, again, there's more controls over your assets. So for example, you can open up the Creator Exchange, you can import your assets. For example, again, just do what I did then. It'll be a zip of an asset pack that you want. You can make a new package, so that's the code here. New asset pack, which is this here. And if we just click this, you can see it's completely empty. So we want to start actually populating it. Obviously we have our asset here, and we've just messed around with the location, rotation, and scale, but this doesn't actually affect your when it's cooked. So if we go over here and the content drawer, we double click the asset, you can see how it's initially set up. So obviously it's really, really small. It's the preview, but obviously we just have to keep in mind that if we want something to be how it is right now, we just kind of remember that scale. Obviously you can change some of the properties, but what we're going to do is right click, we're going to press save, and now it's saved. And then we publish it, and now it's packaging it and everything. So now hopefully by the time that's done, this will be updated. There we go, it's now successful. So if we look over here, it's all nice and safe. Can then just go and open our Creator Exchange. Make sure you're logged in. So you go on Creations, Assets, and here it is. Look, BDCB Video 2. Now we've successfully set up this sofa. So it's your choice if you want to stick with Unreal Engine with the Helix Studio. It depends on, your experience. Maybe you've got a lot of experience with Unreal Engine. Maybe you've got, a little amount and you're more used to maybe, for example, like a Roblox setup where it's more, code and there's less, Unreal Engine things involved. It's just, you yourself. So I'm going to jump back to our normal setup, as that's my personal preference. All we need to do now is just go on the Helix Hub, and then we're going to go on our world that we're using for testing. I'm going to go on config, and then I'm going to reference that package. So if you remember, BDCBE Video 2. Here it is. And then we're going to save. Again, maybe you want to preview something about it. You can just go on our assets, click it, download, have a quick preview of what's exactly inside of it. I'm going to unzip, extract all, click, and there's that sofa. And if we click assets as well, there's this. So we need to make sure that we follow this. Obviously because I named it sofa with exclamation mark, it's replaced the exclamation mark with an underscore. So obviously just keep in mind that now. So again, if you want to reference it, BDCBE Video 2, : sofa. So we're now gonna just do some code now. I'm gonna jump to our test package server index. I'm going to get rid of all of that, the last video. And then I'm going to say new sofa. Again, it's a static mesh, if you remember. So we're going to say static mesh, location, vector. We're going to say -500, 0, rotator, 90, 0. And then, if you remember, the size was fairly different, because I believe this static meshes that I've picked is very, very small. And then the asset reference, it's going to be BDCE, I think. BDCBE. There we go. Video 2. : sofa underscore. Obviously, you can actually rename these things here if you find that really awkward. You can do that. You can't change this one. You can change this one, but not this one, because this is the reference to the asset pack that we have over here. Look, sofa underscore. So we can't change that. We can change this one easily. We can also change this, but obviously it's fine for now. And then let's put this, before we commit anything, copy this, put it in our assets, make sure we load it in our config.toml. BDCBE Video 2, and that's the asset pack set up now. So we just save, and then we open up our server. It's going to cache it. It's been perfectly fine now. So we're just going to open up the Helix client, and then we're going to join. We have our Helix client all set up. So we're just going to locally join by pressing L. That will send us to the local host, this one here. And hopefully there won't be any error on the asset. Look around, and I believe it's spawned in. It's just very, very small. So now we're going to jump back to our code. I'm going to say sofa. Oh, as well, actually, we changed this, didn't we? Oh, no, we didn't. Double check. did we change the name of the asset? No, we didn't, so that's fine. We just need to change the scale. So set scale vector. It's like 200, 200, 200, wasn't it? So now we're gonna package, reload all, and the sofa's here. Again, we just need to change the rotation. Sofa set rotation. This looks a bit different to how it was, so I think it'll be 0, 0, 90. Make sure it's a rotator. There we go. And then you want to change the position. Sofa set. And then our set location vector. And then we want to change the z-axis, as that's the height on Unreal Engine in Helix. Oh, that's a bit too high. No, actually, you just do it here. Getting a bit too high, just going to mess around. So obviously, this is just covering, the bare basics. Maybe you want to change the color of this settee, because it's just a pretty boring color. So we can go on our tutorials and examples, and we can go to painting meshes and scroll down. I'm going to set the material to this here. So that this will now make it turn white, as it's basically just coating it with a completely new texture all around. And then we can also tint it with this here. So we're going to say sofa, set material color parameter, tint, and then this is a color free, not from RGB, so it's going to just turn completely red. Perfect. So now we have a red sofa. As well, maybe you want to modify your asset pack on the hub, and maybe you want a picture or a new name, because again, that's a bit of a silly name, description, category, tags, and also you're able to monetize from this. So, okay, comfy sofa. Comfy sofa. You can find category. Obviously, you want to have it as the appropriate thing when it has probably a prop. Tags, sofa, mesh, something like that. And then if you want a picture, you can just upload. There's also a preview as well. So I do have a picture. I'll just upload. Go to my downloads, sofa. And we have a really nice cropping system, because obviously if your picture is too big, or the file size, it's actually able to auto compress, and you can crop the image. So you can zoom in, maybe get rid of that player out of the way, or maybe have it slightly in. There we go. Make save and close. It's published. Everything is all set up. I'm going to go on the Helix Market Exchange now. Let's try and find it. So if you want, again, we did props. And here it is. For 500 licks, you can now buy this sofa.